All right, and we're back with another. Actually, let me get this real quick. This will be taken care of in post. I rest assured. Want to get the out there. There we go. There we go. All right. There we are. So I want to go ahead and thank everybody for listening and watching us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Cannot thank you enough for doing so. It's Gerald Glasser coming right back at you here. Now you can see me, everyone out there on Facebook Live, and also everybody out there on YouTube. Cannot thank everyone enough for watching and listening. But the Xbox, it's also coming out this week. We talked first about what's going on with PlayStation and how the PlayStation 5 is going to be out there. But I'll tell you what, a lot of great things are happening right now in the world of video games. It is the most important week ever for video games. And I'll tell you what, the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X is part of that big week ever, biggest week ever. And here today to talk about the Xbox is the man behind Project XTalk. You got to go ahead and look it up. Their awesome podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. Has Project XTalk, where they live, breathe, and hopefully not die, but maybe only in multiplayer Xbox. It is Kevin Ainsworth. And Kevin, I want to thank you so much for being part of the show today and really just taking the time to speak to me on a very busy week for video gamers.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. I'm really excited to talk about Xbox. Obviously, we got launch tomorrow, so I'm all pumped up for that. And I know all the Xbox gamers around the world are too.
Now, I want to go ahead. Are you ready to get one at this point in time?
I will be picking my Xbox Series X up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. at my local Best Buy.
There you go. All right. Excited already. Great to hear that. And the things are with the Xbox and the latest generation of it is, I know I talked to also earlier today, George Thomas, who's a big avid PlayStation fan. He talked about all the great things going on with the PlayStation 5. With the Xbox, the only thing I see as an issue is, and I know this is a concern, I'm sure, of yours, and I know you've talked about it on your show with Project XTalk, is the lack of launch games that are specific and exclusive to the Xbox Series X. Do you see that as a hindrance early on? Because we know they're going to make up for it, and by the time the console generation is over, 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the line, if this is indeed going to be just another generation, there's going to be hundreds of games that are going to be specifically produced for this console. But right now, it's kind of up in the air outside of what we see with the Xbox Games Pass.
Right now, I think it is an issue, and I think Microsoft themselves have acknowledged that it's an issue by really stressing the fact of backwards compatibility this generation. They're all about, you're going to be able to play all your backwards compatible games through all the generations when you get your Series X. They stress that they're going to play better, double frame rates, higher resolution, automatic HDR for backwards compatibility. And these are things that on the PlayStation side, we've tested, not me myself, but they've been testing, how do the backwards compatibility titles compare with the Series X and the PlayStation 5. And the backwards compatibility titles have faster loading times because they're being optimized. The PlayStation 5 isn't taking advantage of the backwards compatibility as much. And I think Xbox is really stressing that. In terms of actual launch titles, the delay of Halo Infinite, no doubt, has been a major bummer. Phil Spencer said it himself on Animal Talking, Gary Whitta's Animal Crossing late night talk show. But in terms of Halo, we'll see that next year. They're having some issues over there. Launch titles, there isn't a big Xbox specific launch title. There are mainly third parties, but the real selling point is backwards compatibility and that the games will play best on the Series X. They're really stressing the fact.
Plus a whole lot of faith that you're going to have in this generation for Xbox because of the fact that they are lining their ducks up in a row, so to speak, for the future of the Xbox. Obviously, by acquiring companies like Obsidian and Bethesda are the big tickets there, plus also asking so many of their other recent acquisitions and also acquisitions that they've had in the past, whether from Rare or Playground or any of those great, awesome studios that they've had for a while now. They're going to go ahead and up the ante on the games that they're bringing out to an audience. So the fact that you're getting an Xbox now shows that not only are you interested in and obviously intrigued with what the Xbox Series will offer when it comes to the Xbox Games Pass, but also the future hope, the hope that you have for the future with the series, with the Xbox Series, because the fact that they have so many game studios now that's comparable to what PlayStation can offer.
I think the Xbox offering right now, while it may not be where it needs to be, the future is so bright. They've invested in their service, Games Pass. We have every title coming day and date from the Xbox studios on that service. They keep adding third parties. And the fact that they just went out and bought ZeniMax, that gets us Bethesda and In Exile and all these other studios that Microsoft has acquired over the years and continues to acquire because they said they're going to acquire more studios. These are big name studios that are going to produce big games that PlayStation players, not PC players, they're going to want to play. And if they're exclusive in any way to the Xbox ecosystem, then it's going to draw in more consumers to the Xbox brand. And that ultimately is what they're looking for. Phil Spencer and Microsoft, the team over there, I don't really think they care about people buying the Series X right now. They care about people subscribing to Game Pass. And I think that has been shown by the fact that they got it on Android. They're working on getting it on iPhone. It's on PC. They're going for these large markets. They're going for the gamer, maybe not the console gamers that, decide between PlayStation and Xbox every generation. They're going for the more casual, maybe people that don't consider themselves gamers. They're trying to get them into the ecosystem and show them what Xbox has to offer.
And that seems to be the running theme with everybody I've spoken to on this, that it's not about the Xbox Series S or X, it's about the Games Pass. And they're trying to model it. And I'm going to say at this point in time, very insightfully so, after streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Disney Plus, things of that nature, obviously to try, in fact, they just announced a cooperational effort where you get a free month of Disney Plus if you go ahead and subscribe for Xbox Games Pass. But I wanted to go ahead and say that I see this format that they're leaning towards to, like you said, it's not about the Xbox Series S or X per se. It's about having that type of capability, whether it's on the PC or the Xbox, to run the Xbox Games Pass, and that ultimately will be the key for their success going forward.
I think Game Pass is integral to their success going forward. It's such a lauded brand already, and they continue to make it better, added more benefits, more games. We got EA Play titles coming on launch day. Once they start adding their Xbox Studios games, the ones they've been working on, the ones they're currently working on that we're going to see in the next 2-3 years and this whole generation, that is really going to drive it more. If Everwild, if Elder Scrolls, if Starfield come out and they're exclusive to Xbox or the Xbox ecosystem, I should say, then that's going to drive people over there. You can't ignore good games. People bought PlayStation last generation because they have fantastic exclusives. You can only ignore good games for so long. And now that Microsoft is investing in the studios to produce those good games, we're going to see a lot more people coming over to the Xbox ecosystem.
If Elder Scrolls 6 stays exclusive for an extended period of time on the Xbox, on the Xbox, that's really something right there. That's a game changer, because the temptation for a series that its last iteration, which is Skyrim, which was, as you and I both know, was on every conceivable thing known to mankind, seemingly, it was ported to, and earned over 35 million in sales as far as just a volume. So you're taking that potential 30 to 40 million in sales as far as the volume there, and you're committing it. If you're committing it for an extended period of time on the Xbox Series, or basically just say Xbox Games Pass, then that's a game changer, and that'll get a lot of people more intrigued. And obviously, for the fact that a lot of people would have to spend even a bigger amount of money on a PC that could run Xbox Games Pass effectively, the enticement of the Xbox Series comes even more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we don't know yet if the Elder Scrolls and Starfield and all those Bethesda titles are going to be exclusive. I'm in the camp that you don't spend $7.5 billion to give it to everyone, whether that's a time exclusive or it's some sort of marketing deal where Xbox gets DLC first or something along those lines. What remains to be seen. Phil and Todd Howard can't really speak to that yet because the deal hasn't closed. But in terms of Elder Scrolls, even if they put it on PlayStation 5, say they don't keep things exclusive, that's still benefiting Microsoft. They're still getting that revenue from the PlayStation 5. So they're going to make their money back regardless. People are either going to come over or they're just going to sell it. They don't have to do either or. Phil Spencer has always been very open about he doesn't want to take things away from gamers. He wants everyone to play great games. And I think that is the fact that you said you don't have to get an Xbox. You can play it on your PC, but also you can stream it on your phone. It's easier than ever to get a game and play it anywhere you want. They've also mentioned the fact that maybe they'll have a sort of streaming stick that you can plug into your TV in the future. These are options that they're exploring and they're bringing to life for people that might not have the income to spend on a console, that might not want to, leave the PlayStation ecosystem, but they're really interested in what Xbox has going on. These now have the option over there, and I think that is invaluable to the Xbox brand.
It's so funny because you said a streaming stick. I would not put that out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, with Google, no, they haven't done a great job with Stadia, and I don't think they're going to brag about Stadia sales anytime soon. In fact, I don't know if the existence of that will be a whole lot longer, but I do think that the Chromecast has been a decent thing for them. Amazon Fire has done great with that. The Roku has done a really solid job. So we'll see. That's obviously something there that you could go ahead and do. If it gets anywhere type of on a stick, if you could put that technology where you can get any type of the quality that you could on, let's say, like you said, your phones, your PCs, or your Xbox Series, that could be something that also could be a game changer as well for Xbox Games Pass. Because that's being alluded to, and let's put this out there again. It's not about the Xbox Series, I think. It's just about Xbox Games Pass and making it more accessible to a community out there. But I wanted to ask you this real quick, and I apologize for interrupting. I wanted to ask you this real quick. The GameStop deal that they made, which was almost under the radar, under the wire. A lot of people just kind of ignored it or whatnot. But that was a very interesting deal per se. Tell me your thoughts on this. It's a promotional deal. It's a tie-in with GameStop. It also leads to like a funneling of profits here and there as far as percentages, a little bit more Xbox way. It was very interesting about how it's laid out and how it was worded at the time that they went ahead and made the agreement.
Yeah, so me and my co-host actually touched on this on one of our early episodes of Project XTalk when they first announced the deal. In terms of what it means for Xbox and GameStop, initially it looked like didn't mean much for Xbox. It looked more like it was Microsoft coming in to help GameStop, a failing business, really supply them with the things they need to improve their business. They were all going to the Teams. They were going to be able to use their infrastructure for e-commerce to be like, instead of calling up other GameStops and asking if they have stock, they can look online real time, see what the stock of every GameStop in the area is to help customers, to drive better sales, to have a better customer experience in the store. And then it got revealed that, hey, there's actually some benefit for Microsoft in this. They get a kickback essentially for every Xbox console that GameStop sells. Now, whether this is tied to like the serial number of the console or how this exactly works, I'm not sure, but it certainly creates I don't know if it's a dilemma, but it creates a thought in GameStop's mind where, hey, if a grandparent comes in and asks their kid, I'm looking for a console for little Jimmy for Christmas. What do you guys recommend? GameStop is now in a position to recommend Xbox over PlayStation because it's going to help their company. They're going to get money in return for that. So I think that creates a really interesting dynamic. I don't know if it's going to play out that way. Every GameStop I've been to, they don't really take sides like that. They're pretty pro-choice, but in terms of this deal, it certainly could lead to something along those lines.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it becomes like their Circle of Life program or part of it, then all bets are off because then a lot of the employees will feel like it's forced upon them. and you'll sense that as a customer. And I know the Circle of Life program, as you know, has been a source of obviously their revenue, but it's also been a source of a lot of customer angst over the years. So it leads to that kind of divide customers will have as far as GameStop is concerned. But you're right, it is about money. And if it's financially incentivized for GameStop to do so, that might be, and ultimately what happens is they're going to ask their associates, do you need to start leaning a little bit? If you've got a customer, like you said, that's on the fence, you lean one way or the other, you got to lean them toward the Xbox. That might not be out of the realm of possibility, although it could be more subtle things. And I think it's going to be more subtle things, like who's going to get the front part of their GameStop ads. It's going to be more Xbox. Who's going to get some more as far as the GameStop deals or promotions? It's going to probably be more related to Xbox. That's, I understand. That's obviously what a deal's about. But it could be down to the point where, like you're talking about, as far as that influence comes in, and it could overload as far as that point, as far as them going ahead and being, I don't want to say forced to, but strongly urged as employees to go ahead and lean one way or another.
Yeah, I'm wary of the fact that we might get to a point where someone comes in and tries to buy a used console, per se. Like, say they come in and they're going to check out a PlayStation 4 used console. They're one of the gamers that don't upgrade automatically. They're always a generation behind because they don't have the income, so they wait for things to drop. Well, now we have the All Access program through Xbox where you can pay a monthly payment. So do they, instead of saying, hey, instead of buying this whole console right now, even though it's used, you can get the Xbox Series S or X at All Access for $25 a month. Do they push that as a more budget-friendly idea for these type of people just so they can get a kickback?
Very interesting indeed. And we'll see how it plays out. And it is out this week. It is going to be the Xbox Series S at $299 and the Xbox Series X at $499. Kevin's always going to get his hands on one. But before we go head on out, my friend, I wanted to ask you this. Project XTalk. It's your podcast that's available now wherever you get your podcasts. I've gone ahead and said great things about it. Like I said, if you're an Xbox fan like I am, and I'm also a PlayStation fan and whatnot, but I do love Xbox, and I have trended towards it over the course of my lifetime. I want to ask you this. I want you to do the hard sell. So tell the people out there why they need to go ahead and check out your awesome show, Project XTalk.
In simple terms, it's for gamers that love the Xbox brand, just goofing around, having a good time, but reporting the news that you care about for your brand, for your Xbox ecosystem. We're there every week. We're going to talk about the biggest news in Xbox. We're going to have some fun with it. We just made our top 10 Xbox One game list of this generation. Very controversial. I highly recommend you check it out. But we just like to have fun. We're not media experts. We're not in the games media space. We're regular gamers giving our opinions, giving our thoughts on the breaking news, on the games we're playing. We're just trying to be relatable to everyone else, and hopefully they enjoy that and they can come check out our podcast and converse with us in the comments on Twitter. We love talking to anyone, getting their thoughts on games and the community.
Once again, that's Project XTalk. You got to go ahead and check out Kevin and the whole gang at Project XTalk today, wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple, Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. You want to go ahead and check it out today, Project XTalk. Well, Kevin, it's been great talking to you about your Xbox. I'll tell you what, if you get a chance in the next couple months or so, pop on by. I'd love to get you back on talking about your early experiences with the Xbox Series and see if it's meeting up to your expectations and where it will go from there. Like I said, you're more than welcome to come back anytime if you want anything else to talk about, whether it's Xbox or anything pop culture. But the door is open for you, my friend, right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos.
Thank you for having me, and I would love to come back. So I will definitely take you up on that offer in the near future.
Well, again, Kevin, it's great having you on, and I look forward to bringing you back on right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos.